Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this session once again when we meet and share some ideas. I'd like to welcome nurses, review know of a nurse who would like to share or gather this information to help them, in their future, in their career and stuff like that. So today I just want us to focus on the basics for people or nurses who want to come to the US and they don't know where to start. I've been getting lots of text messages, the DM. I'm always available, by the way. You can DM me, let me know what you need. And so I decided let me go ahead and make this short YouTube clip or this video clip just to highlight and give people some pointers on what exactly is required. It's not as complex as people think. So welcome them back. If you are new to this channel, please go ahead and like this clip, go ahead and subscribe, go ahead and share. You could be helping other people. So today I just wanted to talk about 7 things that can get you started in this journey, this journey that you want to come to the US. 7 things that I feel that once you have them captured, you are able to in a good way be able to get yourself here in the US. So these are just the basics. It's good to always know the basics. It will save you time and money to just understand exactly what is required. So without much ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the first one I would like to mention, of course, is qualifications. Of course, I'm a nurse, as you guys know, and I'm talking to nurses. So these opportunities for nurses that I'm going to share. So if you're not a nurse, then I'm sorry, we don't have, or I don't have any information to help you with as of now. So the qualification number 1, you need to be a nurse, KRCHN and above. You can have your college diploma, your BSN and above. You can be a nurse who has done the specialization, stuff like that. That is still okay. So you need to be a nurse. Another thing under qualifications, you need to be a bedside nurse. So they are taking nurses who are actually working with patients. If you are in the administrative role and you'd say that in your CV, most agencies, if not all, tend to think it's all. They will not take you in because they want nurses. The gap that is in the US is actually bedside nurses. Mentioning about bedside nursing, there are units or departments that they don't take nurses for. For example, if you say you're a labor and delivery nurse, I'm sorry, they can't take you in. You could be having 20 years of experience in that area, they still can't take you in. And I think one of the reasons is because they are trained different. When you come to be a maternity nurse over here, you go to a different training to get you there. It's not like in Kenya where all of us are trained and then you decide if that's your area that you want to work at, then you go in and then get started. No, this one is different. So just to give you right there a cheat sheet, do not say you are a labor and delivery nurse and expect to be taken in, because they need US trained nurses for that area. So be a bedside nurse, be a nurse, the first thing, a bedside nurse, and as well as choose an area that they will take you in. I mean, all other areas they can. You just don't say you need an administrative post or labor and delivery nurse. You can choose any other thing. Could be emergency room, just like I am, ICU, we have med surg, we have tele, IMCU, all these other things, HDU, whichever things, or they're taking all that nurses. So I mean, it's pretty wide open, but do not say you work in a labor and delivery area, because they can take you in. So once you have that taken care of, the next question would be, which agency will I go for? That's a genuine question, because we have we have so many agencies at this point. I believe there could be more than 20 agencies that claim to be taking international nurses from all over the world to the US. So you want to do your due diligence to make sure that you are signing a contract with an agency with a reputation of actually taking nurses to the US in a seamless manner. You want to associate yourself with an agency that is good in communication. If there is any delays, they are quick to tell you this is what we need. There could be some delays here and there. You want an agency which is willing to go above and beyond to make sure that you and your family is taken care of. So just do your due diligence to make sure that you get a right agency. So I know of people who have come to the US with the following agencies. None of them have paid me to put this video out there, but I'll just mention, just to give you pointers. If you have no clue which agency I can approach, I'll just mention the following 4 agencies that you can actually approach and send them an email. And there's no harm of actually sending all of them an email, say I want to work with you guys, and then when it gets to the point of where you need to sign a contract, you can choose which one so far has worked for you, because you can only deal with one agency at a time, especially signing a contract. Okay, so of course I'll mention Avant as one of the agencies just because I came through it. It has its filtration process, I would say, screening process. It has several interviews that you need to go through because they are a bit I would say strict to who goes through that agency. So once you go in, there will be some screening tests here and there before they actually take you in. But once they do, I like Avant because in terms of communication, they are top notch. They quickly respond. Whenever you text or you email, they are quick to respond. They'll give you ample time for whichever step you are in. So I will definitely mention Avant. The next agency I will mention is Shearwater, because I know a few people have come through it, but from my understanding, you need to find out this. From my understanding, Shearwater only deals with the BSN nurses. I have a friend who came through it, and I felt like she was quicker because she was when I started, she was like way behind, but I was surprised that she was able to actually do NCLEX so quick as compared to when I started the journey with Avant. So that's number 2. The other agency I will mention is already Payton. I came to learn that this is a equally good agency, and it has its information right there on YouTube online. I like it because it has these YouTube videos talking about things that are related to nurses coming to the US. Talk about retrogression, they're there. Talk about having interviewing nurses in the US, different states. So I liked it because of that. So that's a good agency I would recommend. The other agency that I know of is MedPro. It has brought several nurses to the US. So that's another agency I would mention at this point. So there is another way you can go at this point. There are people who have actually done self-sponsorship. So what that means is you sponsor yourself to do NCLEX, and after the NCLEX, now you can approach an agency with your results. Of course, after you have passed, say, hey, I've passed my NCLEX, now help me to migrate to the US with my family. That's another way. I would say just that it's costly because everything, it's self-sponsorship. So you are catering for everything. It's just that I feel it's going to be quicker in the sense that you may not need to do the 1-year training like with Avant. They have to train you for 1 year before you sit for your NCLEX. So if you feel like I can do this thing after 3 months, so long as you have authority to test, there you go. So that's another option I would mention at this point. Okay, so that's now point number 2, agencies. Point number 3, of course, that you want to know about as a nurse who is thinking of coming to the US is making sure your paperwork are in order. So by paperwork, I mean your CV, and by CV, I mean now that's where you mention your experience. And one thing I failed to mention, or I forgot to mention, is the qualification aspect. This is very important. You are better off with the 2 years experience and above. And if you are a BSN, I'm inclined to mention that your 1 year of internship is counted, because it counted for me. I mentioned I did 1 year bedside, taking care of patients under supervision, and then after that I had another year with after getting my license, and it counted. So 2 years of experience is paramount. And also, this is also very important, the hospital you work in really matters, because they want a busy hospital. And how do they know it's busy? It's by the bed capacity. If your hospital has 150 beds, you have a greater chance of them saying, I think you're a seasoned nurse, you are able to work in the USA hospitals. So keep that in mind, that you should be able to prove. Again, I'm a little bit serious on that, because now they have come with these stringent measures to make sure people are able to prove that they are working in such hospitals that they claim to be. So you should be able to be in a position to provide proof that I work in this such and such a hospital, and it's a busy hospital. I would recommend a hospital with more than 150 beds. Okay, so again, that is general information. You can always find out with the agency that you want to go with. Okay, so to right back to where we were talking about the paperwork, I was talking about the CV. This is where you say how many years you've worked and which department you've worked in and the current department you are. So don't worry too much about it. Just mention the few, because they're going to actually tailor make your CV to suit the American market at the end of the day. So it's just make sure your CV mentions, hey, I've worked for this number of years in this department. Okay, and remember what we talked about, which department you should not mention. Okay, of course, during your under your paperwork, we are talking about having a passport. So if you don't have a passport, I guess this is the time you go in eCitizen or whichever forum you choose to take right now in Kenya. Go ahead and apply for your passport as quick as possible, because you need that upfront. Of course, you need a valid nursing license. That's one of the papers they're gonna ask. Just make sure your paperwork, your license is up to date. And of course, your good conduct. I came to realize that it's getting some people having challenges in getting their good conduct certification in good time. So make sure you are able to access the police clearance, the good conduct, okay, because it's one of the papers they're going to mention. Okay, so I haven't mentioned about other, I believe by, as we are talking, I already know that you have your college paperwork, everything else. I just believe that you have all that. Okay, so point number 4 that you need to put in mind when you are applying this process is you have reliable internet. I cannot overemphasize this, because remember, these agencies, they're in the US, so their interviews, they are solely dependent on the internet. And mentioning that you should be able to have a valid working email address, because majorly that is their sole way to communicate with you. So you should be at a position to access your email anytime, because they could be sending very time sensitive information. You should be in a position to see that and respond to it. You'll have Zoom interviews as you proceed along, so that's why you need good internet. Put that in mind as you start this process. It shouldn't be something that can delay your process of starting, but it's something that you need to be aware of, that what, I need good internet as I start this process. We are now point number 5, where we talk about funds. You realize that even though you are with an agency, they will cater for about 90% what you need, but there is some funds that you are required to have. For example, getting a passport that's going to be on you, getting your papers to be verified. When you go to nursing council, I had to pay 12,000. My time, I don't know how high it is, could be higher than that. I also had to go to the university and pay about 5,000 for them to send the paperwork from, my transcripts from the university straight to CGFNS. So that requires money. So you should be in a position to be able to handle such money matters. And if you're going to India, if you're going to South Africa, they will cater for your stay, but they won't cater for your meals. So keep that in mind as well, that as much as we say it's the agencies are taking most of the burden, remember you should have a way to support yourself as far as these other things are concerned. Number 6, this is also very critical. This next point is very critical. Availability. You'll come to realize that it's a tedious process that is going to need not only your resources as far as money is concerned, but also your time. Yeah, because you will realize you will be beating lots of deadlines, lots of assignments with dates that you should submit before those dates get to pass. So you should be in a position whereby you are able to actually be available to these calls, available to you doing the assignments and whatever that is required at that time. So keep that in mind, that when you start this process, you're in that safe space to be able to be available for yourself. It's I would say it's an investment that you're putting in for yourself and for your family. So really be available. You don't want to be qualified only not to be available when you're required. The last point, I just added it because it's also important, because it's a long journey and you need some support. So I just want to mention, I just want to say community. And under that point, I just want to mention that you need people who share the same goal with you. There are so many challenges, as you will come to realize, so many distractions at one point or another. So you need to have these conversations with the people who are in the same journey with you. This is not the time to talk with people who have given up in the process or who have no desire of coming to the US, because they will discourage you. They will tell you how they have tried passing IELTS severally and failed. They will tell you how expensive it is. They will tell you how difficult it is to raise a family in the US. They will discourage you. So have a community of people who you share the same ideas. So there's a WhatsApp group, for example, that has nurses in the process of coming to the US at different stages. Find out how you can join that, because they will be measuring points here and there. They'll be directing you or pointing you to some specific directions where you need help, and that way you'll be able to be moving along slowly. If there's like a Telegram channel, if there's like a Facebook group, go ahead and join and get information, because we make decisions based on what we know. And mentioning on that, of course, by now or if you don't know, there is a Facebook group that we have created to join or to get nurses who are already in the US and most who are actually in the process at different stages, called USA Transitioning Nurses. Go ahead right now, or after this video, go ahead and look it up on Facebook and make sure you join, and then there we discuss about all these things in greater length. There we share links that we feel are going to help you. There we share stories, success stories, encouragement. So go ahead and join such groups. That way you are well equipped in this journey. So those are the 7 points for anybody, any nurse who wants to start this journey. Nobody told me this, so take advantage of this information. It's good to have it than be surprised along the journey. I will just recap. The first one that we mentioned are qualifications. We said you need to be a bedside nurse, seasoned with a 2 years of experience in a busy hospital, recommended 150 beds and over. We mentioned about the agencies that you need to approach. We mentioned of 4 agencies: Avant, Shearwater, Upgrade Penton, and MedPro. Or you can go ahead and do self-sponsorship. We also mentioned number 3 as our paperwork. We talked about the CV having a valid license, good conduct, as well as your passport. Number 4, we talked about the internet. Should be able to have a reliable source of internet at your at your place. Number 5, we talked about funds. You'll be required to pay a few things here and there. Number 6, we talked about availability. You should be available for to do those assignments and stuff like that. And finally, number 7, have a community of people with the same mindset. Okay, so that will mark the end of this presentation. Again, if you are new, please, before you leave, make sure you subscribe. I have very few subscribers, and I'm positive that the information that I'm sharing could save you lots of time, lots of money. It could make your life easier as you think of transitioning to the US. If you are not a nurse and you know of a nurse, go ahead and share this video to them. They'll thank you at the end of the day. We have very few people who share this information, so once you hear it, please take advantage of it. So go ahead and subscribe, go ahead and like, and let me know, just comment, let me know if there's any information you'd like to know as far as coming to the US is concerned. I'll be more than happy to respond to it. My main communication is Facebook Messenger. Go ahead and shoot me a DM right there, and then I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Until next time, my name is Coach Josh, and I wish you the very best as you plan to joining us on this other side. Thank you and have a lovely day. Bye.